and gentlemen, welcome to Retro Warriors episode 352. Woo. As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and as always, I'm joined by resident old bastard, Chris Saturn.
I love that it's printed out on the page and you still paused for a second before the episode number.
For whatever reason, all week I've been putting 200 in whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm just off by 100 episodes. I missed 100 episodes.
You're back to pre-COVID times when we were still in the 250 range.
The before times. We don't have any housekeeping, so we'll just go right into my week because I want to talk about a game called Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
And this game has been getting a ton of press. I mean, like big articles from big outlets.
I have seen none of them.
And they're coming up on Rock, Paper, Shotgun. PC Gamer keeps posting stuff. I keep seeing it posted about online. People talking about it. People on our Discord talking about it. So finally, I just go look it up on Steam. And it's... It's $2.99.
Yeah.
It's in early access.
Yeah.
And it looks terrible.
Yeah, it looks like a Flash Robotron clone.
I sent it to you, and I was like, I have to buy this because it's $3, and I have to know.
Okay.
And I've learned this about myself, is that when I don't understand something, I just start spending money on it until I do.
I've noticed that.
Because I want to know. I want to be in on it. I want to be in on the joke. You know, I want to be a part of it. So I sent it to you, and you said this looks like one of those games I'd get in a jewel case 101 Windows game compilation things.
Right.
And it does.
Yeah.
And I played it fully expecting for it to be one of those like meme games.
Yeah.
That's like so bad it's good, it's dumb, it's, you know, and that's why we like it kind of thing. Which I get. I'm that way about movies, but I'm not that way about games. And I played it. We had just gotten done recording After Hours, and I bought it, and I went downstairs, and I booted it up on my Steam Link, and I laid in bed and played it for 3.5 hours. Because Saturn, it is fucking fantastic. It is a fantastic game.
What genre is it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Perfect.
Okay. Imagine Konami.
Then or now?
Then
okay.
made a Castlevania themed reverse shmup.
What is a reverse shmup?
So you open the game up.
Okay.
And it only runs in windowed mode.
Naturally.
And the graphics look terrible.
Right. I saw that.
And you get in the game, you pick a character, and you control. The only controls in the game is movement. You just have a joystick or a arrow keys, whatever your mode of choice is. And your character auto attacks.
Okay.
And immediately enemies begin swarming you, huge hordes of them.
All right.
And you just try to point your guy toward them so that he auto attacks at them.
All right. Yeah.
And then once you get enough experience, because they drop it little experience crystals, you level up. Okay. And when you level up, you can pick to either, you may get an option. Your options are random. Okay. You're randomly given options, and you may be able to upgrade an existing weapon you have or ability, or buy a new weapon.
Okay.
And then that gets added to your auto attack repertoire. And then you just move around, cutting through swaths of enemies and upgrading your stuff. And that's the game.
Very arcadey.
There seems to be some sort of very mild narrative. There are different levels, and they are kind of different, but there's no like progressing through a level, right? Yeah. It's just you're just it's not even one screen. It's huge, massive scrolling areas, but it's just an arena, right? Okay. And what's so amazing about it, and I read an interview, I think that PC Gamer did with the designer, and they're like, what was your vision when you were making this game? And he's like, I don't know, I liked this one Android game, and I thought it'd be fun, and then I found a vampire asset pack that made it look like Castlevania. And so it's fun, right? Like that was, and he's like quit his job. This is his full-time job now. It's this $3 game. And he's like, I never anticipated this. And what I love about it, and this is what PC Gamer brought up in the article, so, you know, credit to them for the idea, is that because there's no like driving design behind the game.
Yeah.
It really is just, you feel very powerful. It's very much like, because it's broken as shit. You find weird combinations of stuff and you're like, this just annihilates things. And the thing is, the game, I don't know if it was built this way on purpose or not, but the construct of the game, the gameplay, is okay with broken shit. So what happens is you'll go through 15 or 20 different runs, dying, getting a little bit upgraded, dying, whatever happens. And then eventually you'll find some combination or happen to get a good combination of stuff that is just really overpowered.
Okay.
And the thing is, the enemies keep scaling up and up and up and up until the screen is just solid enemies. And you're literally like shooting hundreds of lightning bolts and throwing 50 whips and boomerangs and crosses and holy waters and just annihilating them.
All right.
And just cutting through them like you're parting the sea. And it's so satisfying.
Nice.
Like when you get that proper curve up into this just absolutely ridiculousness.
Nice.
And there are treasure chests. Some enemies drop treasure chests.
Yeah.
And when you get a treasure chest, it pauses the whole game. It pulls up a full screen animation of a treasure chest. It plays this really catchy electronic music tune as the chest explodes open and coins and items shower upward out of it like a fountain of blood. And then you get an item out of it.
Nice.
And it makes you sit there and watch this thing. It's just so charming and so fun and makes you feel so powerful. And there's a lot of content. There's a lot of characters to unlock. The money you get in the game you can use to upgrade abilities permanently that will apply to whatever character you play as. There's a little Simon Belmont guy. There's a skeleton guy. There's an old man. It's very, very, very heavily Castlevania themed. You've got crosses that you throw and holy water and whips. My favorite weapon, I main garlic. That's my main weapon. Every time I play Poe. He's a garlic main, and he starts with garlic. That's his starting weapon. And the garlic just creates a force field around you that if enemies get in it, they get damaged.
Nice.
So if you can play it right, then you just stand there and they kill themselves on you, right? But there's a lot of depth to it, too. If you get certain item combinations, you can evolve certain items to their, like, ultimate version that's different than the previous version.
Nice.
I mean, I cannot think of a scenario where I would not recommend this game for $2.99. I'll say it. It's the best $3 you've spent in video games in years, and I don't care who you are, or what you like. It's just really fun and interesting.
I've bought it while you were talking about it. Just
and it's funny because the first time I played it, it was like, all right, I kind of get it. I guess it's like a little thing. But what you don't realize is how quickly it ramps up.
Yeah.
It immediately, you're like, all right, I guess just a little auto battler thing. It's fine. And then all of a sudden, you play a couple runs, and then you hit a ridiculous run, and you're like, what the fuck is even happening? This is insanity.
Nice.
It's just like, it's just assaulting my senses. There's lightning bolts and fucking demons flying out. It's just insane. It's so much fun. I cannot speak highly enough of it. Pablo saw that I was playing it, and he's been playing it, and he messaged me, and he's like, it's so good, right? I'm like, yes, it's incredible.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. If you like video games, you will like it. I enjoy it quite a bit. It looks stupid.
Yeah.
It's not,
it still looks really dumb.
It's not a great looking game. You boot it up, and there's like a big, dumb, scaled up pixel art vampire on the main menu. It's great. I love how much the Steam community has kind of rallied around this just like weird early access $3 game. It's a
part of me
fun.
hopes that Konami sees the attention it's getting and licenses some assets to the guy.
Oh man, that'd be great. Now, in the interview, he was like, "Yeah, he was like, so he basically said he stole the idea. He's like, there's this Android game I liked. I think it's called a survival game. Is the word he used, but that makes me think of like Minecraft, and it's not that.
Yeah.
But I get it. You know, you're there and you're just surviving huge waves of enemies. And he was like, yeah, there's an Android game I liked that was that. and so I just made that, and it was all right. And then I added vampires from this vampire asset pack, and it was great.
Nice.
Anyway, Vampire Survivors.
Nice.
Good game. What have you been playing?
I
see Sapfo.
Yeah, I'll get to that. I'm gonna save that for last. So, I did play the Mario Kart DLC, the first
Yes,
wave.
how
anyway.
is that? Because I've heard bad.
No, it's not. It's not bad. It's fine.
Okay.
I would say it's not as polished as the tracks that came with the game, or the
They
tracks
only had a
that
few
were-
years to make it, Saturn,
Right.
so just relax.
It definitely looks like they just took courses from the mobile game and migrated them in.
No,
Which is
that's
fine. They're
sad.
Mario Kart courses. They still work fine.
Right.
And most of them are taken from prior games in the series. So
Okay.
we know that they are functional, good courses. There's specifically one course that was original to the mobile game that they brought into this one that is so weird because it changes its path every lap. And
Oh wow! Like randomly or to an assigned?
no, to an assigned
different-
thing.
Okay.
So you end up going through the course in like the third lap ends up being the reverse direction from how you go through it the first two laps, and you end up going into a different part of the course, and it's very strange and very it feels unique as far as Mario Kart goes. So that was enough that it improved my opinion of the fact that some of the graphics are not quite as high quality as in the main game.
I've also heard that in some stages, things that like were interactive or moved previously are just kind of static.
Yeah,
just
like
kind of some
The cars
little lazy
in
things.
the mall stage are static now. Also, the escalators in the mall stage from Mario Kart Wii were replaced with just brightly colored ramps to show you which direction
Oh.
they are going, which
Yeah.
works roughly the same, but it takes away some of the nuance. Because before, you would get real close before you saw which direction it was going, and
Right.
it would inevitably cause you to fuck up. Now, from a mile away, you can see this bright, glowing neon ramp.
Yeah.
It's still fine. It's still functionally the same stage. It performs fine. It is a little cheaper feeling than the main game, but it's still some fun courses. And that had me in the mood to play a kart racer, and I got my copy of Chocobo GP in the mail at about the same time.
Oh, did you buy the battle pass?
I bought the cartridge.
Oh no!
I don't think it comes with the battle pass.
No. Why would it come with? How are they going to charge you more money if it comes with a Saturn?
So I thought I would play the story mode because I heard about all the aggressive microtransactions, and oh my god, they're really bad. Holy shit! I looked at the store menu. Fuck. Holy
Oh, no.
Jesus! There is a free trial version of the game, and man, is it a limited trial because you can't buy shit until you bought the full game.
Awful, just awful that they would ruin. And what's frustrating is they're gonna be like, yeah, nobody liked this shit, I guess.
Here's the
It's like,
problem,
guys.
So I load up the story mode. First of all, to get to the story mode, you have to get through the main menu, and oh my god, that is the worst fucking music I've ever heard. It is the most
no,
it is the most patronizing, obnoxious, like preschool children's TV theme song level music.
yeah,
The rest of the music in the game is fantastic, but that or the menu screen is unbearable, and it plays
it was made by the guy that did the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster CRT filter.
right.
They had him on
Yeah,
that.
they brought him in. He was looking for work, and the thing is, it plays that theme in between races
Yeah,
in the story mode, which is a shame because the game is fantastic. It's an excellent kart racer. Like having played it right after Mario Kart, I was like, okay, it's not quite as polished as Mario Kart, but if I hadn't played Mario Kart in a few weeks, I would say that this was on par with Mario Kart. It is that quality of a racer wrapped in a shitty menu music and the world's worst monetization.
Why?
And that makes me so angry at them because they made a good game there. And that's frustrating that they hired people who made a competent, qualified kart racer and they fucked it with microtransactions. And that's so frustrating.
What's even more frustrating is that if it sells badly, they won't even fix it or give us like a revamped system or a complete edition. They're just going to fucking dump it in the bin.
Yep. They're going to say, well, that failed. And that's so frustrating because it's such a solid game.
Let's keep the Square Enix hate train going.
Oh, boy. Sopfafo. All right. So, yeah.
So what is the full title of this game?
Okay, so the game is Stranger of Paradise: Final Fantasy Origin.
All right. Yes.
Or as the Xbox calls it, Sopfafo.
It's a Final Fantasy game then? Or?
It is a Final Fantasy spin-off that is a Dark Souls clone.
So it's a Final Fantasy themed Dark Souls action game.
Yes. So it borrows so heavily from Dark Souls that it is blatantly just... So it's some dude was told to make a Final Fantasy game, but he had only ever played Dark Souls before. This is what he would make.
Now, does it maintain the same difficulty as Dark Souls?
It has variable difficulty, which is the only reason why I kept playing it. It does have
as soon as you said that, I was like, how did you play it?
Yeah. So it's got an easy mode, and that's what I played, and I still died a fucking lot. And it has that same kind of combat style where it's all very methodical, and you have to block, and you have to dodge, and you have to attack.
Parry windows and dodging and rolling, and
there is a dodge roll, so it's all there. And every time you reach a save point, all the monsters respawn exactly where they were, and your health potions refill to 5. It's very, very Dark Souls in that way.
I gotta be honest, I came into this to laugh at it, but you're kind of selling me on it right now because I like Dark Souls, but I want variable difficulty.
So yeah, as far as the moment-to-moment gameplay is concerned, I thought that it was actually pretty solid. I thought it was well made. I enjoyed playing it. I enjoyed it enough to finish the game.
Yeah.
However, the story... Also, okay, before I get to the story. So the music is actually pretty solid. All of the areas are themed after areas from prior Final Fantasy games. So there's 15 stages, and each one is themed after a prior game in the series. Mm-hmm. And all of them are themed as if some guy who had never played Final Fantasy and only drew art for animated versions of Dante's Inferno was briefly explained each Final Fantasy game. And then he made a stage, which I guess is functional. Also there are job classes. You can change your job and get advanced job classes, and that was the part that I really liked, is trying out all the different job classes. However, I was not good enough at the combat to be able to tell the difference between most of them. So I just stuck with whatever worked for me, got them all maxed out, and then just finished the game. And then the story. So
long silence.
Imagine you're back in 8th grade, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a kid in your class that's like the sci-fi nerd.
Mm-hmm.
And then another kid in your class that's the kid who just draws logos of metal bands on all of his book covers.
Yep. All right. I'm aware of them.
Those two are partnered up for a project where they have to write a fantasy story.
Oh, yeah. So pretty much exactly the tone that the trailer set.
Yes. And then they hire a bunch of 10th grade drama students who have never seen the script before and make them cold read the whole fucking thing.
You're unselling me on this game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling unsold.
Maybe
I'll just stick to Final Fantasy Explorers for my Final Fantasy spin-offs in other genres.
I would recommend that if you did want to play it, just borrow my copy, because don't give them money for this. That was basically where I came out. So I finished the game, which is not something I normally do for a game that I don't enjoy. So I must have enjoyed it enough to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that I could call any one part of it good. And the story especially is bad. It is phoned in, makes no sense. Every plot twist that they threw at me, I was completely unsurprised by. Like, all of them, I was like, right, you were building to that. where's the actual twist? And then like the scene ends and I was like, oh, okay, that's...
You did it. Woo!
I guess we got there. And the thing is, like, I'll spend like an entire area trying to figure out, so how are we going to get from here to the plot twist that they're obviously spelling out? And then at the end of the level, somebody just says, and then we'll do this. No, but why? Oh, okay, the scene's over.
Chaos.
Yeah. And also, like, every stage tries to have like witty banter between the characters, like Final Fantasy 15 did. It's so like you'll start a stage and the end of the last stage was the main character saying, we gotta kill that fucker, and the other characters being like, all right, we'll do that. And then they start the next stage and one of the characters is like, it's a good thing that we found out exactly how that happened. And then the main character is like, I don't want to hear about it. And I'm like, no, I do though. How did that happen? It's just...
It sounds like the main character doesn't even want to be in the game.
Right.
It sounds like he's just got better shit to do. He's fucking frustrated. He's
baffling.
like, oh my God.
I feel like there was some conflict on the staff where there was one staff member that was like, I want to write a story. And everybody else was like, fuck you. Why would we do that?
You want to write a what?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's very confusing.
Well, Square Enix has not done well by you this month.
No, I would say no. I did finish the Nier games. Those were really good. Play those. If you want something good from them, play that.
There you go. Let's do the news.
Yes, sir.
First up, Take-Two is trying for the world record for most blood squeezed out of a stone with their new Grand Theft Auto Online subscription plan for current-gen consoles. Woo!
Also, they're charging, what is it, $50 to buy GTA 5 on PS5 and Series X. These are games that were originally on the PS3 and 360, if you've forgotten.
But now you can subscribe to them.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Saturn.
I can pay $10 a month to pay a game that was free a few months ago.
I thought you liked video games.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Now, listen, I have some hats to sell you, okay? So just shut up, get your wallet out.
Right.
No, I'm not going to give them to you. I'm going to sell you a battle pass that allows you to potentially randomly earn them.
Can I play the good kart racer at the same time? Can I still play that?
Fuck. Get out.
Fuck. Sorry.
Source code for the PS1 and Windows 95 ports of Wipeout has been released.
That's neat.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Microsoft claims to have paid more than $2.5 billion in royalties to indie devs on Game Pass. I like their strategy here.
Yeah.
Phil Spencer came out a while back and said that the way they do Game Pass deals is a one-on-one. It's individual. So they talk to the developer and they're like, hey, this is the deal we're going to make you.
Yeah.
You're going to get paid based on downloads, or you get paid based on how long it's on Game Pass. You get paid, it's different for everyone.
Right.
And my assumption was that it was boilerplate, like you put your game on here for X amount of time and you get X dollars.
Right. That was what I would always assume.
But apparently it is not. It is very dynamic and very
that's good.
Tailored to. And I think that's why Game Pass is continuing to have so much success, because they're willing to work on an individual level with these developers and say like, hey, what do you need?
Right.
We want to help you out and also get good shit for Game Pass.
Yeah.
So good on them.
Yeah.
Wario Land Super Mario Land 3 DX ROM hack is a lot of words, and it introduces color to the original Game Boy game, which is great. It's a good game.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the original Wario Land, now you can play it in color.
Sony shows new PlayStation Plus subscriptions to be available later this year. You have the Essential plan, which is the same as the current plan, $9.99 a month or $60 a year. I have the Extra plan, which has a catalog of, quote, up to 400 PS4 and PS5 games at $15 a month or $100 a year. And then the Premium Edition adds an extra 340 games that include PS3 titles that can be streamed and some original PS1, PS2, and PSP games. Also includes time-limited trials of new games, which is a bullshit thing to charge people fucking money for. Sony, it's $17.99 a month or $119.99 a year.
The phrasing is strange to me, because especially the part where it says up to 400 PS4 and PS5 games. Does that mean that if they are at 400 and a new game comes available, they're like, fuck, we got to kick something off?
Well, also, one is up to 400.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
like,
that is true.
that's not a number.
Right.
And this is what frustrates me about these companies. And even Microsoft is guilty of this, is all three of them right now have subscription services that include access to games.
Right.
But none of them have a minimum amount of game guaranteed.
True.
Like,
now,
if Nintendo came out and they're like, hey, we're going to release 5 games on NSO a month, and once a game has been on NSO for a year, it'll be subject for potential removal pending licensing agreements. I might not like that or think it's a good deal, but it's at least clear what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will give Microsoft credit that they say that their new release games will be on Game Pass. That's
good.
The thing they have established.
Yeah.
Sony says their new release games will not be on this. And also, somebody went through the math of the number of games they said would be available initially, and it is exactly the games that are on PlayStation Now currently.
Oh, what? No way.
So it appears that they are just rebranding PlayStation Now and just changing up the price structures a bit.
I'm just so like Game Pass skates by because they at least put out really good stuff on Game Pass, and tons of shit comes out day one on Game Pass. I still would like a clear roadmap of the minimum amount of content that I can expect from them.
Yes.
Just because they've been doing a good job doesn't mean I don't want to know what I'm paying for.
Right. At least they will show some upcoming games regularly.
Yes.
And they show in advance when games are going away. I appreciate that.
Microsoft has been releasing their first-party games day one.
Yes.
But as Halo Infinite showed us, they're not actually releasing complete games on day one.
I didn't realize that.
So
I didn't play Halo, so I didn't notice that one.
Well, you may not know this at all, but a big portion of Halo is playing the campaign cooperatively. Okay. That's how I've played every Halo game. And it doesn't have co-op right now.
You don't need that.
Came out last year, and they just delayed the co-op.
Oh.
So I don't know what the fuck's happening.
They had to help them make that opera scene in Final Fantasy VI first.
I guess. Really, the best product they're putting out right now is probably Forza. I mean, that's a shitload of stuff, but even then they're selling extra car packs and stuff that are not included in Game Pass, so.
It's weird. I have really enjoyed playing my Xbox over the last year, and I was thinking about it, and I don't think there is a first-party Microsoft game that I care about at all.
Yeah?
I don't think there's one. Even with Bethesda.
What about Hexic?
No.
What? Come on! It's the best Microsoft-based puzzle game.
No, I don't.
Yeah, no, it is. What about?
Yeah. Once they finish their Activision acquisition, then it'll be Lost Vikings. That'll be my favorite Xbox first-party property.
Breath of the Wild sequel delayed until next spring. Shocking no one.
I'm fine with this.
I mean, I know people are upset that it's delayed, but I don't know that anyone didn't see this one coming.
Right, exactly.
So, oh well. Sony is beginning to remove games from the PlayStation Plus collection that was made available to early PS5 adopters.
Yeah, I don't know why this surprised me. I am a little disappointed by it.
At this point, if Sony started self-destructing PlayStation 5s in people's homes, I wouldn't even be shocked. I'd be like, oh yeah,
Did you see the Silent Hill April Fool's joke?
No, what was it?
Konami is removing Silent Hill from sale by retracting used copies from stores and going into people's homes and destroying existing copies.
The problem with that joke is that implies that they're competent enough to go find the copies of the games and destroy them, and I don't think they are.
That's true. I've got all mine hidden under a bed just in case. Nobody tell Konami they're under the bed.
Dig Dug 2, Mappy Land, and SP versions of Super Mario World and Super Punch-Out added to Nintendo Switch Online. I like these SP versions a lot. I think it's one of the coolest parts of Nintendo Switch Online. I wish they would do more of them. Also, Earthworm Jim 2 was added outside of Japan, while Japanese users got Harvest Moon. Come on!
Man, I will admit I was wrong. I did not think they were going to release any more NES and Super NES games after they did the expansion pack. So I will admit I was wrong there. Earthworm Jim 2 isn't going to sell me though. That wasn't it. And I love
Harvest Moon is a good game, but it's not here.
Yeah, I don't expect it to ever come here. there is enough legal issues between Natsume and Marvelous that I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah.
But
Capcom is giving its employees a 30% raise due to fifth consecutive year of record profits. Now, wasn't this only Japanese Capcom employees?
True. This is Japanese.
Is that what I read?
Japanese Capcom employees, which it's great news. I am very happy that they are sharing their record profits with their employees. That's great. I did hear, however, that even after this 30% pay rise, Capcom employees will still make under industry average.
Oh, shocking. I'm just shocked.
That's unfortunate.
E3 has been officially and for now fully canceled by the ESA. And unfortunately, Jeff Keighley will be hosting a summer game fest instead.
Oh boy.
We just don't have enough of him around here, you know.
I'm so tired of Jeff Keighley.
I'm just, you know what? When E3 went away, I know that a lot of people have a lot of good memories of E3. It's exciting to have new games being announced all at once. It's really cool, but just maybe I'm just cynical in my old age. But seeing a commercial fest go away, like they're still going to release the commercials on YouTube for us to watch.
Right. I liked Xbox's event the last several years. I feel like Phil Spencer was like he seemed to enjoy it as much as the audience did, and I appreciate that. I also always appreciated when Reggie would do it before they went fully Nintendo Direct.
And Devolver Digital.
Yeah, they always had a fun show. But
and the PC Games show was awkward enough that it was enjoyable. Really, what I'm going to miss is very bad stage presentations.
The thing is, nobody's stopping that. They can still do that if they want to. They
won't.
Right, they won't. And that's the sad part.
What game was it where they trapped all these journalists in an arena and they told them that they were going to announce a game and then they just made them watch a flute concert for like 10 minutes? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember the stupid flute concert. I don't remember what company that was.
I thought it was like, was it Ghost of Tsushima or something? What game was it?
Maybe that was it.
And they were like in there, they were going to announce it, and all of a sudden they pan over and they're like, actually, flute concert. And it was a very cool flute concert.
Oh, yeah, they were very talented. But
what the fuck was happening?
Nobody asked for that, is the point.
Like, this fucking stage turned like a revolving door, and they were like, flute concert. And it was like, oh, are you going to play like background flute? What a cool stage for you to announce the game. No. You're going to watch the whole fucking concert, and then we're going to tell you about it. It was so
bizarre.
dumb. And Ubisoft releasing the most tone-deaf, awkward, stupid... Oh, God, their stuff was so dumb.
Hold on. Ubisoft, tone-deaf and awkward?
I know. I was shocked as well. But we do need to get on the topic at hand. Speaking about terrible presentations, this week we are talking about the Phantom game console.
That was my favorite game console of the era.
Which is probably the most elaborate PR stunt for a game console that has never existed, barring the Amico, because...
Until the Amico, yeah.
That might actually still come out. I don't think it is, but it could.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the Phantom, then the Chameleon, and now the Amico. It's like a straight line.
As far as release info, we'll get into that. But as far as first encounters, I was pretty young in this era. Mm-hmm. So I'm like 2003, I'm like, what, 15? So I'm young enough that like I don't really understand, I'm old enough to understand the hype, but I'm young enough that I don't really get that this is basically bullshit.
Oh.
And so I thought it was the coolest idea ever, because on paper, it is a pretty cool fucking idea.
Yeah.
It's an idea that literally is never going to happen.
There was a lot of different ideas.
But at the time, they were just like throwing cool ideas on the screen, and I was like, yeah! I wanted one. I wanted one so bad. I thought it looked cool. I was like, man, I want a Phantom. And some game magazine I was reading did like a 2 or 3 page promotional article for it. And I was like, man, this thing looks awesome. And so I was just old enough to be excited and just young enough not to realize what was happening. And I carried that through to adulthood because no one fucking talks about the Phantom.
Oh.
It's a joke now.
It was a joke then.
But I didn't know that it was like I knew
somehow you were not in on the joke.
No, I wasn't in on the joke. And you were like, I was like, oh yeah, everybody was excited for that one for a little bit. And you were like, no, they weren't. And I was like, yeah, like back when they announced it, everyone was like, oh, how cool is that? And you were like, nobody said that.
No.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So my impression of it was very different because I was older. So I was working at EB at the time, and I remember when it was first announced. I went into work, and my coworker was like, "Did you hear about that fucking Phantom thing?" And I was like, "No." And he explains it, and he's showing me whatever magazine it was. It was GamePro or EGM or Play or one of those that was available at the time. And he just like pulled it off our rack at our store, and he like ripped the plastic off to show me how stupid this is. And he's like, "Look at this." And I remember like they didn't even have the mock-up of it yet at that point. They just had the name. And they said one of the people told them that it would play PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube games. And I was like, this is a joke, right? And he's like, it has to be a joke. And we just spent the rest of the day making fun of it. And then, slowly as time went on, more information would trickle in, and it just became more ridiculous. And it felt a lot like the Amico feels today, where they just kept piling things onto it and talking about how great it's going to be. You just have to wait. It's going to be amazing.
Let me tell you, because I did the research on the Phantom.
Yeah.
The research I should have done when I was 15. The Amico is 1,000 times more legit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now it is.
Phantom. But man.
Okay, so maybe it's more like the Chameleon was, where they they just kept piling on, or maybe like the pre-release Ouya hype. Where,
didn't they like jam PS1 hardware in a Chameleon shell, and people like called them out on it? And God, it was so dumb. That was a great time for shitty game hardware. The CD was coming out.
CD was right around the corner.
The CD and the Chameleon were like both right. They're coming out any minute.
And also that was when the Polymega was announced before we knew what was going to happen then.
Well, they never released the Polymega that they announced.
Right.
Did they?
They released something called a Polymega.
Yeah, they released a product that is called the Polymega, but it was not the Polymega that they announced.
True. That is
They
true.
didn't do that.
Correct.
The Phantom is a game console that was allegedly going to be put out by a company called Infinium Labs, which was founded in 2002 by one Tim Roberts.
Yes.
More on him later. And that's all Infinium Labs ever did, was the Phantom and some related hardware.
A keyboard.
A keyboard, yeah. So let's talk about the Phantom itself before we get into the details. This was announced by Infinium Labs on January 20th, 2003, and it was said to be releasing in December of that year. Right? There was a reveal video that informed us that it was made by gamers for gamers and that it was next generation.
Right.
It claims to be the fastest game console on the market, but doesn't show any specs other than wireless connectivity, pay per play, and Dolby Digital.
It also didn't show any games, for that matter.
No. Well, it listed some, but they were made up.
Yeah.
It claims to have pre-installed games.
Yeah.
They have generic names and we don't see them. The menu system looks not only fake, but very badly fake. This is very much an animation someone has made for them. The big innovation was that you could, quote, preview and rent games.
Yes.
And they proudly touted it as an always-on broadband device, like that was a good thing.
For 2002 was impressive because
it was an exciting idea.
This was before Xbox Live was available on the original Xbox. So
we didn't know better.
So they hadn't yet been broadband always online.
It lists S-Video, RCA, Component, and PAL as its available connections.
Is that a connection, Justin?
No.
Oh.
It is not.
Is it instead a video format?
Why, yes, it is.
Weird. Why would that be listed with the connections?
They also claimed it was upgradable, but we've never seen anything in that regard.
Well,
although it is.
Yeah, it is.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And so if this just kind of sounds like a regular PC from that era, then you'd be correct.
Yeah.
Except that it didn't run regular Windows, so it was a less functional PC. I do have a second document here with a full feature set
Yes.
that I found somewhere. And it's extremely generic. You ready for this? Leading edge peripherals.
Yeah.
Onboard RF wireless modules. High performance NVIDIA video card. High performance Intel motherboard. Fits in any 19-inch entertainment center. Like...
That's good because my PS2 never fit in my entertainment center.
Seamless upgrades and patch managements. Don't know what that means. State-of-the-art design and technology.
Good.
This is the closest it gets to specs. Up to 3 gigahertz processor with 256 megabytes of DDR RAM.
Oh.
That is the closest we get to real specs.
And for 2002, that's pretty fucking high end.
That is, and it also says it has a 100 gigabyte internal storage device. Yeah. I think they meant hard drive, but okay,
that's how they said hard drive then.
And it contains.
They did have to specify that because most game consoles had external memory cards.
True,
so it made.
But they could have just called it a hard drive.
People didn't know what a hard drive was. This was
people knew what a hard drive was in 2002.
Nobody had heard of a hard drive before. They hadn't been invented.
So physical prototypes were shown off, and I thought they were present at E3 2003. I was watching an E303 video, and it looked like people were playing Phantoms, but I don't think that really... it's hard to tell. Yeah. The timeline is fuzzy.
Yeah.
So this is the console they've announced. We don't know much about it. There's no titles announced for it, no games, no developers are signed up, no one's talking about dev kits, right. There's nothing.
Yeah. Which should have immediately been giant red flags. And for a lot of people was. Most of us realized there's no games announced for this. Nothing's going to happen.
Other release dates I found for the Phantom include August 17th, 2003.
Okay.
Q1 2004.
All right.
November 2004.
Yeah.
March 2005.
Right.
Fall 2005.
Yeah.
And in August 2006, the product was removed from the website.
Oh, no. But they still had the keyboard, right?
Well, we'll get to that. So after failing to secure funding, Infineon allegedly wanted $30 million.
That's not that much for a game console.
And someone close to the project said that they had secured $25 million. They failed to secure their funding and complete the Phantom, so they instead released the Phantom lap board.
It's basically the same as a console, right?
The lap board is a wireless keyboard with the same sort of stupid visual design that the later era Phantom had. Because at some point, the Phantom went through a visual redesign.
Yeah. To look more like a PS3, but off-brand.
Yeah. It looks stupid.
Yeah.
All of the versions of it look stupid. I couldn't figure out when they did the redesign, but it happened at some point. Yeah. And the lap board itself was announced as a companion accessory to the Phantom and slated to release in Q2 2006.
Yeah.
So this is before the Phantom's been removed from the website.
Right.
It missed that deadline and was moved to, quote, no later than October 2006. Mm-hmm. Price was announced in August of 2006 at $130 with a $30 pre-order discount. It was delayed again around December 2007.
Yeah.
And then it finally released on June 23rd, 2008. For those keeping score at home, they announced this thing in 2006.
Yeah.
It took them until mid-2008 to release a keyboard.
Yeah, and this was after they announced their console in 2002 that they got canceled in 2006 so that they could instead focus on the keyboard.
It seems like at some point the messaging was, hey, this lap board is made for the Phantom, but it also is just a USB lap board that works on any old thing.
Yeah, the conversation I remember having at the time in 2006 with friends of mine that were into games was, this is money laundering, right? Surely this is money laundering, right?
Oh, we'll talk about the SEC later.
Yeah.
Because there are some concerns.
Just since we kind of brushed past the awesome design of the unit. So
we did, yes.
The original Phantom looked like imagine you bought a early 2000s Western Digital external hard drive, but it was gamer edition. That's basically...
it was the size of an Xbox.
Yeah, the size of an original Xbox, maybe a little bigger, but designed to look like an external hard drive gamer edition. That's
what it honestly looks like to me?
What's that?
It looks like a footstool.
Mm.
Like it's got little grippies on along the top edge for your feet so you don't slip.
Yeah,
I think
okay,
it'd work
can see
great as
that.
a footstool.
I bet it would. Yeah, that would be great.
So the interesting thing about the Lapboard is that it was probably the most successful business decision of Infinium's stupid existence.
But yeah, because it became a product.
Well, they also entered into an agreement to provide Pro Games Network with Lapboards for use in their hotels. And reached an agreement with Alienware to use them in their media center PCs. But then Alienware pulled out in December 2007 because they didn't fucking come out with the thing.
Well, at least Pro Games Network was on board.
The Lapboard itself is a laptop keyboard in a huge shell.
Yes.
That, from what I can tell, it's some sort of like 2-level hinge design.
Yep.
So like there's the bottom part that sits on your lap and the keyboard like swivels around.
Yeah, for some fucking reason.
But it's just a shitty laptop keyboard.
Right.
And it comes with a shitty travel mouse, like straight up the kind of shitty mouse that you'd get for like $4.99 that you'd stick in your work laptop bag.
Right.
Maximum PC basically said it was useless garbage and did not work for gaming, and I believe them. And then About.com put it in their Father's Day gift guide for 2010.
What?
A full 4 years after it was announced. And 2 years after it released, About.com was saying you should buy it for your fucking dad. It looked like shit. I can't imagine it sold very well. It was not well enjoyed. It was dumb.
Yeah.
But at least it existed.
Yeah, it just looks like as far as the actual keys, it just looks like a Dell laptop keyboard of that era.
Yeah. So that's really, as far as just the raw product releases of Infinium Labs and the Phantom, that's all of it.
Yeah.
That's the entire timeline. They announced it. It never came out. It did not materialize. The Lapboard happened, and they made some amount of money off of it. And then apparently paid About.com to talk about it on Father's Day several years later. But what's really fascinating is the media, the Phantom in the media. So in September of 2003, a PC gaming news website called Hard OCP, which is a terrible name, began investigating Infinium Labs and got wrapped up in a legal battle when Infinium sent a cease and desist letter demanding that they remove the article from their website. The content of the article is fascinating. So I'm sure you remember Tim Roberts, founder of Infinium Labs.
Right.
Steve Lynch, the writer for Hard OCP, did a ton of investigating into Tim Roberts' employment history, as well as the current state of Infinium Labs. And kudos to them. This is back when game journalists didn't just like retweet stuff.
Right.
Like this was real investigative journalism.
Yeah.
They sent photojournalists to multiple locations.
Nice.
So Tim Roberts, founder of Infinium Labs, listed several broadband and networking sounding companies on his resume at the time and alleged he was the founder and CEO for most of them.
Okay.
Lynch, the writer, checked out each job, discovered that they were all either bankrupt, in massive debt, or worked at by Tim's mother, brother, or other family member.
Huh.
And at one point, he called one of the companies and said, I need to talk to, I don't remember the title, but the director of whatever, blah, 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 Tim Roberts. And they said, no, I'm his mother. I'm the one that works here. Basically, it's all bogus.
Yeah.
But his mom did give him a glowing endorsement on the homepage of one of the company websites.
Nice.
So his employment history is bullshit.
Yeah.
So Lynch and Hard OCP sent photographers to find and check out Infinium Labs. But the only listed address took them to a strip mall that didn't seem to contain any sort of corporate office.
Nice.
At the time, there was one spot in the strip mall that had a single desk and a phone, but it was unclear if it was in use or if it was just a desk and phone left in there from something else. There was no signs. Nobody was in it. Then, doing more real journalism, they checked again 6 months later.
Yeah.
And no one was there.
Of course.
And they verified with the nearby businesses that there was no Infinium Labs or corporate office. So then they went to see where mail for Infinium Labs was sent. And it was going to a store in a strip mall called Mailboxes, Etc. that they have pictures of,
I remember
where
that.
it would later be picked up. So at this point, this is September 2003.
Yeah.
This is like right on the launch of the Phantom.
Right.
Alleged launch of the
Yeah.
Phantom. Roberts made the boneheaded decision to talk to Hard OCP. Lynch called him, and Roberts basically tried to explain everything away. And I have some quotes that they highlighted in their article. I love these. Quote from Tim Roberts. To get really good, because what they're asking about, they're saying, hey, you have all this employment history, but it just seems like your mom and your brother and just seems bogus. Like, what's going on? And Tim Roberts says, to get really good at doing things, you have to do multiple companies. When you play high-risk games, you're not going to win all the time. And then he also, quote, scolded Lynch a bit for calling him at his $3 million home.
What?
He scolded him. He's like, how dare you call my $3 million home with your poor person sounds? And this is fascinating to me. So Infinium Labs filed a lawsuit when this article came out. Hard OCP filed a countersuit against Infinium Labs. They were going to fight this.
Yeah.
And then Tim Roberts tried to file a suit in Florida because he claimed Texas wasn't the proper jurisdiction, and he basically just got all wishy-washy and let the whole thing drop.
Right.
And then a few months later...
Presumably because his lawyer was like, you don't have a case.
Yeah, you don't even have a company. I'd be shocked if he had a lawyer.
Right.
At QuakeCon 2004, Hard OCP smashed one of the original Phantom consoles open on stage with a sledgehammer.
That's how you open it.
To reveal what Infinium Labs didn't really want to tell people. It contained regular PC hardware. It was a Pentium 4, it was a GeForce GPU, a Linksys Wi-Fi card, standard motherboard, off-the-shelf RAM. It's literally just a fucking PC.
Right. Which a lot of proto consoles at the time were PCs. So that makes sense, but they were trying to sell it as more than that.
Right. A lot of proto consoles at the time were they would come out and be like, yeah, it's a PC. It's a media center PC.
Right.
And we're not, I mean, it literally, retail Pentium 4. This is not like some custom Intel chip. No. And this was the whole point of Hard OCP's original investigation was Infinium won't tell us what is inside of the Phantom.
Right.
And so once we've done the article and we've settled it, we're going to smash one open on stage. They put a big fucking tree stump out and smashed it open with a sledgehammer and started tossing computer parts into the crowd.
I do like they just gave somebody a P4 they just ripped out of a computer. Like, here, you get a P4 now.
I want to know where they even got the Phantom.
Yeah.
I mean, what? And so this video is where I got turned on to Hard OCP and their investigation into Infinium Labs. But they weren't the only people investigating Infinium Labs.
What?
Tim Roberts was also being investigated by the SEC.
What?
The SEC went after Roberts, and at the time, Roberts claimed that he thought they were after him for promoting Infinium's own penny stocks. And he was correct, because Roberts hired a stock promoter to send fraudulent faxes about how the Phantom was coming out very soon, and the stock price would go up almost 3,000%.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
To try to trick would-be investors into buying his shitty stock. So the SEC, in agreement with the rest of humanity, claimed that the Phantom was never going to come out, and that this was a lie with the intent to commit fraud.
Yeah.
They said the faxes themselves were a pump and dump scheme.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So at this point, this guy has come out. He's announced this new hardware, and everyone goes, that just looks like a PC. And he goes, no. Not a PC. It's the future of gaming. It's got PAL. It's got controller ports. I'm reading off the list.
It's got wireless.
I don't know what a 12-inch port extension cable is.
It's how you plug your wireless controller in.
It's got a custom OS on the Windows XPE kernel.
Yeah, it's XP embedded. It's not even full XP. It's XP embedded.
It's got a wireless keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
It's preloaded with games that appeal to a wide variety of users and gaming needs.
Does XPE even support a regular P4?
I don't know.
I don't know.
My only guess is that they were running regular Windows on it.
That was my guess too.
And just, I don't. It's honestly, I would love to know the hardware details of the Phantom and what they really were running. But as far as I can tell, it's just they just put PCs in fancy shells and tried to show them off and sell them for however many hundreds. I think retail on it was $399.
Yeah, but there's no way they could have made it for $399.
No, yeah, alleged retail. Right. That's
hell. Just the Windows license would have cranked it up above that.
Yeah. So
even if it was
I
still XPE, it would have cranked it above that.
Now, they were taking registrations and pre-orders at some point.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any data on that.
We weren't
it's all been
them,
wiped.
Because there were some people who came to EB and they were like, can I pre-order a Phantom? Or, no, you can't do that. It was not in our system at all. We never had an entry for it.
So, Hard OCP investigated some. It's not coming out. We're on the precipice of the Phantom. He starts paying someone to send fraudulent faxes. Yeah. Gets sued by the SEC, settles with the SEC.
That's how you know he's innocent.
And his settlement dictated that he could never serve as an office as a public director of a public company,
right?
And had to pay a $30,000 fine. His mother couldn't be reached for comment, but it's safe to assume she retracted her glowing endorsement of him on the WANforce website. And then
it's
after
almost
that,
sad, honestly.
It's stupid.
It is stupid.
Somehow, after all of this, Tim Roberts convinced a bunch of turkeys at Golden Gate Investors to finance the Phantom lap board.
Yeah.
Thus, we end up with the Phantom lap board.
Have you looked at the prices on that?
No. Is it crazy?
It's like $120 on eBay.
So it's cheaper than retail. It is the only gaming accessory that has gone down over time.
There's one for $90, it looks like.
Does it include the shitty mouse?
The one for $90 does not. But the
rip-off.
Yeah, the one for $120 does. That seems to be the only place I can find. And there's no sold listings for it. Obviously, nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah, why would you? There's way better lap boards for $120. Oh, yeah. I think the Rocket Sova is $120. Yeah. You can get the Corsair K60 with the full lap board and everything for $150.
You can get that new arcade arcade machine that's just a lap desk and just use it as a lap board.
Yeah, but don't, because that's dumb.
That. Yeah.
What a dumb thing. We did bring up the visual design. And what I love is I've got this image. This is from February 3rd, 2003 from Phantom.net. I found it on the Wayback Machine. There's not a lot of info on their site. But this is, as far as I know, the earliest rendering of the Phantom console. And what I love is they've got it all blown out. And they've got all these images of the case all blown out, and they got one where you can see through and you can see the internals, but it's just like a mock-up, and there's a big square that just says hard drive on it. And in the mock-up, the bottom middle image of the mock-up is literally just a PC tower on its side in a big plastic case.
See that?
And then they also have a mock-up of the user manual, but it's just a cover image of a user manual to be like, look, we've mocked up the user manual as well.
This is what it might look like.
And then it has what I guess is the mock-up of what the box would be for some reason.
But it just looks like a MSI motherboard box.
Yeah, it looks for real bad. And so it never came out. It never happened. The redesign, the stupidest part about the redesign was it does look a little sleeker, a little more modern.
Yeah.
But it has one controller port in the very center of it.
Is that not how you want your console to be?
It's just so stupid looking.
About it looks really bad.
And it lights up around it. And I believe the controller port is just a USB. I think it's just one USB port in the very center that lights up. And it's always pictured, the redesigned one is always pictured with the lap board.
Yeah. As if they were a pair.
Yeah, as if it's, you're going to get them both.
So the lap board, how much did it retail for again? Was it $189?
$129.99.
So $129 for just the keyboard. They think the console is going to be $400. So if you bought them together, was it going to be like $500, $600?
I guess. Yeah.
Who was going to buy that?
What a great question.
Because by this point, the PS3 and the X360 are already around the corner.
All he needed was $30 million, Saturn. It's the future of gaming.
Sorry.
It's okay. Oh, and let me ask you this, Mr. Cynic. You're telling me you don't want fits in any 19-inch entertainment center?
I'm sorry.
Leading edge peripherals?
In fairness, the PS5 won't fit in any 19-inch entertainment center.
This is true. It's a feature.
Yeah. That's one thing that the Phantom has up on the PS5.
As far as reception, it was pretty poorly received for never existing.
Yeah. It was a joke almost immediately.
Yeah.
I honestly kind of feel bad that you were somehow taken by it for a little while there.
I was. I mean, granted, taken. I saw like one magazine article and thought it was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I'm curious what magazine you read it in, because I
am too.
I want to know who didn't immediately publish it as this may end up being a joke.
Is as far as legacy,
yeah.
The closest thing I can think is the Mad Box.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Mad Box, Saturn?
What about shuttle cases? Did those count?
No, because those were sold as PC cases.
That's true.
They
were just cases. Yeah.
Computers. We still have computers.
Computers, they exist. That's true. You can
I
buy
wrote
them.
down the Steam Deck. It's kind of a,
it's a console that's just a PC inside. That's
it's
similar.
just a, there you go.
But
it's
it doesn't
just
come with a
handheld
lap board.
Phantom. Well, you could buy your own lap board separately. You could buy a Phantom. Someone out there, someone is going to buy a Phantom lap board for their Steam Deck. Someone's going to do that.
Why?
And it's going to be wonderful.
Will it?
So I don't know. I mean, the idea of I think what the stupidest part is they thought it would be novel to just sell you a fucking PC and call it a game console, and nobody would notice, and everyone noticed.
Like we eventually realized that it was just an off-the-shelf PC, but for a little while there, they were trying to pitch it as absolutely revolutionary. Like this device can do things that no other device can do. It will be way better than any competitor, and that's why it justifies this price that's, by that point, double the price of a PS2 or Xbox.
Yeah.
And
now,
I
go ahead.
I just, everyone that I knew at the time was like, how can that be? And I guess eventually we realized it can't.
Yeah. Now, it's fascinating to me that companies still try to sell us this shit. I'm sending you a picture of the controller for the Mad Box, just in case you think absolutely stupid hardware designs aren't still out there.
Oh, it's so ugly.
The Amico is still out there.
The Ouya.
The Ouya is still out there. I feel bad about the Ouya. The Ouya was a decent idea.
Yeah.
And then Android TVs just happened. So what do you need?
Yeah,
Ouya for?
Ouya was a little early to what it was trying to do. And then by the time it finally did make it to market, it was too late for it to have any traction. Unfortunately, it was bought by Razer, who fucked it into the ground.
So that's the Phantom, or would be if it actually existed.
That would have been the Phantom.
Someone somewhere has a prototype and it's going to come out, and then we can laugh. As far as final thoughts, I'm glad that terrible vaporware hardware still exists, because sometimes it feels like the world is joyless. And it just makes you feel good to see them taking and buying the molds for Atari Jaguars and putting Super Nintendos in them and pretending it's going to be a game console.
In fairness, all those Jaguar molds are in dentist's office now. Those are in use. They can't get those.
But the Phantom, it has endeared, or did endear for several years as a big giant joke. There was a lot of media and press and web comics. It was right in that web comic era.
I distinctly remember a few months after it was announced, one of my coworkers made a joke about Oh yeah, are they gonna bundle it with Duke Nukem Forever when it comes out?
I bought Duke Nukem Forever for $60 on day one.
No. Why?
Yep.
Why?
And let me tell you something else. It was my first Duke Nukem.
Oh no.
I had played Duke Nukem 64 like one time at my friend's house, but that was it. And I was
How'd
like,
you feel?
This was before Steam had such a kind refund policy.
It was on Steam too. Oh, you couldn't even sell it. Oh
no. I pre-ordered that shit. I played it, and I was like, this is fucked. I played. I wanted to get my $60 worth. I spent multiple weekends for a couple months playing multiplayer online.
Is it still in your Steam library?
I assume it is. I don't know.
That's unfortunate.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me scroll up here. Duke Nukem Forever right there.
Oof.
Yep.
Gross.
I wonder how I should install it. We should stream some Duke Nukem Forever.
No, Duke Nukem Forever was already a joke by then, by the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And,
for sure.
And so, yeah, we were like, oh, yeah, I bet the Phantom will come with Duke Nukem Forever. Because we just assumed that neither would ever happen. But of the two that happened, do you think Duke Nukem Forever ended up being a more complete product than the Phantom ever would have been?
I would say that because I could play it. I didn't finish it because in the middle of the game, they wanted to have you not be shooting things.
Oh, that's good. That's a good way to play Duke Nukem.
I was like, that's not the thing. Currently on Steam, Duke Nukem Forever has very positive recent reviews.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm going to install it and I'm going to play it. Maybe I'll stream it. If anybody wants to see me stream Duke Nukem Forever, then first of all, we all need to reevaluate what we're doing with our free time. But also I will. Anyway, that's the Phantom. It's fucking stupid. It never happened. And Tim Roberts is a con man.
Yes.
On multiple fronts. But
Mrs. Roberts probably isn't. It's not her fault.
Right. She seemed real nice and just wanted to support her son. And really, isn't this just a tale of a mother supporting her child in the end?
Through tax fraud.
Yeah, and also tax fraud.
And investor fraud.
And, just normal amounts of fraud. Saturn, as a great man once said, to get really good at doing things, you have to do multiple companies. So let's take that to heart and just remember that when you play high-risk games, you're not going to win all the time.
In fairness, how many podcasts did we go through before we got to this one?
Saturn, how dare you call me in my $3 million home? The phone is not supposed to ring when it's a poor person on the other end.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I explicitly told my staff.
I explicitly told the Southwestern Bell Corporation.
I made my phone number contain digits that poor people were not aware of.
They're not supposed
to
know.
Like a Schmevin.
And a Shinty 6.
Well, if you want to give money to people who won't commit fraud with it, we have a Patreon.
I was wondering how you were going to salvage that, and it was better than I could have imagined.
At patreon.com/retrowarriors, where you can get Talking Wizards and After Hours and more of me and Saturn talking on the uncut episodes of the show.
And Guy's also
stuff
there.
Like that. Guy's also there.
Yes.
Yeah, he exists. You can also get our April Fool's episode in a more timely fashion.
Yeah.
Instead of several days after April Fool's. That's the greatest joke of all, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how we've dodged your expectations.
When you don't release every single day, April Fool's is a month, right?
There you go. April Fool's month.
Yeah.
This is totally unrelated. My daughter came home and it was her first April Fool's that she was aware of because we don't celebrate it at home, I guess. Yeah. And the April Fool's jokes that 6-year-old kids come up with are ridiculous.
No.
It's like, hey, you don't have a butt.
Oh.
You're like, I don't. April Fool's!
I got him.
Anyway, if you're wanting more comedy on that level, Talking Wizards is a great show, and it's available on our Patreon.
I'm glad you guys have reached that level now. It took you a couple years, but you're getting in your groove.
We aged it up.
Yep.
we do want to thank the following patrons for their kind donations, starting with Little Bunny Foo 89
And Chris.
Nicholas Perfect.
Justin, join me in the metaverse. Ooh.
No, I will not. Jerry Voss.
Chris Hickson.
Justin's transitions are my new favorite part of the show.
Chris Ruppersberg.
Brian Guido Hassin.
And Pablo, play every copyright-owned music for 10 full seconds.
If you play them all on top of each other, then I think we can get away with it.
Yeah, it'll just sound like white noise.
No one will know.
Or the brown note. I don't know.
In local news, 15,000 people shit their pants on Monday morning at 6 a.m. The brown note. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let us cling together.